Abusua Vice President Her Excellency Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang and Abedru Labadi Beach Hotel Hasen. Na ne ekoso ADEA ye twa netenten any Association for the Development of Education in Africa. And the Ministry of Education account to my pamano. Na afi omu afida nhyiamu aye omu ye no afi Accra ha enkran Ghana Hasen and omu be hosti no a my Ghana host you na eno ena Ghana mampani na nkono ena wose nka woba na one day na no disem ebe tudwa as keynote speaker na nso wetia ne nachi enra najo esan primprim adwuma bi e wo so kodi ntenam so uma watu nana musini Her Excellency Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang na waba no ba ya esan se education ho ena fanti no na wone ye education minister Hon Haruna Iddrisu ena womo etu atene na womakọ hwe na omadi dwuma no ewo mu ho no na afi assemti eda so strengthening the resilience of Africa educational system, advancing towards ending learning poverty by 2035 with a well-educated and skilled workforce for the continent and beyond. In the idea for womo susuye any womo adwendwen ni womo bibia womo ye enyina na so mbehwe na Africa ha education policies ahodo a ye implement nia nam kwan mu trodo ne ne beboa nkwada yiedie ene ne beboa ama ohia buburo aseatu ewo ye education system mu ene ne ba bia ama nkwada na nya access to bibia o mu hia no matimi asua de ye na de sua no so nkoye so mu sua de bia keke no mbe wi echi wempo no ma pass na o mantimi amfa anya hwe wo man ni mu da bi enye no ena wo mo hwe animu nti enam so ama mo host sa program na program no nansa ena o matu asi wo esom de yes our program nti ne ene da dikan ene se Ghana mampani abede che ebebia no o tena so mbeto aso na 31st nso no wo mo atwato kra o manfo efi abibrama mu bebre ena abepie mu ewo krodua yi mu Hasen Mastercard Foundation partner mpanifo ahodo a ye groups companies ahodo nyina no partner bi no matimi enam so ama wo mo de omdwumadi abawie a na Ghana mampani abede achi Her Excellency Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang ne maaye eno no nsem odi tudwa ne nyina no Ghana News TV ye twa na ye de abramo amwanya bia hwe no anya bia tie ha Ghana News TV eso no ani gwa hwe no midin ene nana se fa hwe no bobo mesro se ne ndi kan aba hwe me a na wa subscribe no wa share video e de amame ama ekọ akire sanso ena mesro se wo amanone na so send this ka ba fi download LemFi sisi a bo news ehemu na wo munni kan enche $10 enche ho se wo America and US a wo UK nzo na cheze £10 sanso ena LemFi ta wachi promotion no eguso ekoso aka na nsape na ADEA and no mo so and nti bomodi ana fasa kwanya so na send ni nya 1% off sika obe send no send $50 €50 £50 and above a free sa amount na ekobia no wo mbeche 1% of scanners and nti fasa kwanya so na efa send abusua yenkwe na yentie ni enhwe nia ekoso ewa Hasen.
Thank you. Remain standing. The minister will accompany the vice president.
He's redeeming himself as Minister for Education. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, Minister for Education for Ghana, to bring us some quick remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard, for those warm words. Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang, a professor of good standing, do the keynote address and accept to do the keynote, who am I as minister to want to attempt to speak to the theme of the gathering, strengthening the resilience of Africa's educational systems, advancing towards ending learning poverty by 2035. We've just been reminded of the African Union decades of what is expected of us as countries. So for me, we should live here finding answers to very significant questions. Is Africa ready? And is Africa ready for the future? When Africa is still grappling with congested classrooms, shortage of teachers, lack of infrastructure to support and speed up digital, inclusive, equitable, quality education, I'm certain that with your presence in this room, we will find answers to many of these questions. And I'm told that it's only in Africa that we have the number of out-of-school children growing and increasing. In every other part of the world, in every other continent, the number keeps decreasing. But for Africa, the number is growing. How committed are we as government to invest more in education and to look for resources within our countries? There's even a more compelling reason why we are gathered here. We all are witnesses to the compelling factor of dwindling commitment and investment by donors in education in Africa. Therefore, we cannot continue to rely on donor support to finance our education system. We are compelled to look within. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I said, is to welcome you all and to thank ADEA for the choice of Accra, Ghana for this important ceremony. Momentous for us to look at the resilience of Africa's educational system. If you look around, there are still schools in Africa that are not connected to electricity, let alone connected to the internet. Yet you are talking about a tomorrow digital education future. We need answers from you. So it's now my singular honor and privilege to say a warm welcome to all of you and trust that your recommendations will provide a blueprint for us to walk in action on how to accelerate investment in education to make our educational system resilient and to address the ever-nagging question of a mismatch between what African education system produces and what the future of jobs require of us. So it's now my honor, profound honor and privilege to introduce to you Ghana's Vice President, our first female Vice President, a trailblazer. She was our first female Vice Chancellor, and she's accepted to do us the honor of the keynote address. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, help me and join me in welcoming Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang to do the formal opening of the ceremony.
We now welcome Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang, our special guest.
Please take your seats. Is that acceptable? Then good morning to you. And allow me to refer to the protocol established and to welcome all of you to Ghana. I bring you greetings from His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, who was meant to be here but he was called away on another important last-minute assignment, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy, especially at this year's gathering, partly because Ghana is the event you have chosen as your venue, but especially also because this is about human development anchored on education. I commend our Minister for Education, Haruna Iddrisu, and his team. And please accept my welcome to all of you to our beloved country. Enjoy your stay, enjoy our food, especially the Ghana jollof made from local rice. Enjoy our warmth, enjoy our hospitality. These years, I know why the Nigerians are giggling. And we know we have an ongoing battle on who makes the best jollof. But take it from me, Ghana makes the best jollof. This year's gathering has two key aims. First, to take stock of the previous triennial held 2022, and second, to reflect on the implications of global and continental shifts on education. We have the opportunity to assess what has worked in Africa's education systems, identify the gaps, and explore what we can do differently to improve quality and relevance. As an African-led organization, ADEA's self-assessment must also consider how emerging global trends integrate with our cultures, which have long sustained different forms of education. Across our continent, governments continue to grapple with learning poverty through problems like basic literacy skills, despite improvements in school enrollment. So the enrollments have not necessarily matched to outcomes. Learning poverty undermines our development goals. We must prepare our education systems to cope with rapid technological change and societal transformation. But we need to go beyond coping. We must also create, we must contribute to that technology. And we need the skills that make them possible. We must also recognize our achievements. They have been many, even under trying circumstances. I also need to salute all our workers in education, the teachers, the researchers, administrative and support staff, and urge them to do even more and to do even better. Our current age, more than ever, demands that academic knowledge must be matched with avenues for creativity, adaptability, and resilience. I believe the 2025 triennial will strengthen collaboration among African countries so that our youth will develop the skills and cultural orientation necessary to thrive in today's world. I also recommend that we work closely with individual national planning strategies, and I want to emphasize that, in order to avoid sweeping assumptions about the entire continent. The theme from this event aligns with our government's educational priorities as a country. In this regard, it is in all the types and shapes of education and in all the pillars of our national development that we need to address. Shortly after assuming office, we convened a National Education Forum, which focused on 5 pillars: infrastructure, quality, governance and accountability, financing, and evidence-based decision-making. Through our flagship Ghana Accountability for Learning Outcomes project called the Gallop, we are improving foundational learning, and promoting results-based reforms. Gallup now covers all public kindergarten and primary schools, supported by partners such as the World Bank, the Global Partnership for Education, and the Jacobs Foundation. We have also established the Ghana Education Evidence and Data Lab to promote evidence-based policy making and introduce curriculum innovation. Recognizing the power of research, our government has established the National Research Fund with a seed capital of 50 million Ghana cedis from the GET Fund to support research institutions and evidence-driven educational policies. Despite these achievements, financing remains a challenge. Ghana, like many of her peers on the continent, must work very hard to keep pace with rising educational demands, especially in TVET, STEM, and EdTech. But I want to raise and submit that the relevance of education should be directly linked to the long-term economic and social development agendas of our countries. We believe that the time has come for Africa to rely more on her resources to solve her problems. We are being challenged by current circumstances to explore indigenous financing strategies that respond to national needs. We are blessed not only with rich mineral wealth, but also with intelligent, creative youth whose talent can drive Africa's transformation when we take better care of these natural resources and human resources too. Let us mobilize our collective expertise and innovation to create sustainable African funding mechanisms. And you and I know that we can. What I want, before getting to the conclusion, I want to raise that we go beyond that percentages. I've heard that many times in the past and current times too. What percentage we allot to education? Let's go back to the argument and ask, how can we make that pie bigger? If it's so small.
Warrior say this is gungulung 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 gung. This is Ghana News TV. The time is 6 o'clock. Let me follow Ghana.
So send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha. Use LemFi. Say ye fear wo pese wo ntono. Use LemFi. E dan ya na say Japade a wani da so a wo pese oto wa Africa ha no. Use LemFi. Say wo send this sika ama odofo e de aboa no wo Africa ha. Use LemFi. Sanso e na say wo tie obi school fees ama no a. Use LemFi. Nyenti a make come for LemFi ama on say utimi send this ka e fa LemFi so a e ma ne begu bank account mu sanso e na timi begu mobile money account mu eno achi nso no de bia LemFi e wo daily rate a e ma hu sika dodo a wo send a wo benya LemFi e secured na wo send this ka enche na nipa a wo send ama no ne nsaka LemFi wo USA, Canada, UK, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Portugal and France. What the LemFi send this ka untuahwe bomodian dey use me code NEWS news na say any day they can register or LemFi so a unya bonus sanso and use chen so a ye wo bonuses ahodo a ye de ma.
If your skills lay in collecting your cocoa into bags and shipping them in the raw state, your pie will not get big. It is when you add value to that cocoa and you upgrade the skills of your people from collecting raw beans into sacks and processing them into derivatives, then you'll get a bigger pie. And then even when you have 1%, you'll notice that that pie is significant. And I want to draw the attention of the African Education, Science, Technology and Innovation Fund being established by the African Development Bank. And I gather that we all deliberate on how this fund might serve a sustainable alternative to foreign aid. even as every country also look within itself and ask itself, how can I add value to the raw materials I've been exporting? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your kind attention, and I want to wish, and I know that you have a very, very good experience living in our beloved country. Those who have come for the first time, please come back. And those who come often like Martha, please come back again. Thank you, and have a good day.
As it was rightly highlighted in this meeting already, with the global aid declining, we as African continent must shift from dependency to self-resilience. That is why the African Union and the African Development Bank in close partnership have been advancing what was just referred to by the last speaker as the African Education, Science and Technology and Innovation Fund, an African-initiated blended financing mechanism designed to mobilize domestic resources, catalyze private investment, and fund innovation in education, TVET, STEM, and research. Equally urgent is the operationalization of the African Union Research Grant Program, a critical engine for homegrown knowledge and solutions. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I want to once again echo the African Union's gratitude to the government and the people of Ghana. Your reconfirmed commitment to the African Union, to the Africa Education, Science and Technology and Innovation Fund in May this year reaffirm your steadfast belief in Africa ownership and demonstrates the bold, timely action we need to turn continental strategies into reality. I also wish to acknowledge and appreciate the commitment and pledges made by Botswana, Kenya, Malawi, and Zambia, as well as ongoing expression of interest from several other African Union member states. At the African Union, through the Department of Education, Science and Technology and Innovation, we are championing a shift from policy commitment to implementation systems, ensuring that every strategy is translated into measurable learning outcomes, institutional capacity, and accountability mechanisms, both at regional and national level. We shall keep engaging with member states to formalize commitment, recognizing that sustained financial and political will is essential not only to launch the African Education, Science and Technology and Innovation Fund, but also to successfully implement the above-mentioned policy frameworks. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, allow me to use this forum to issue a special appeal. I call upon on the Committee of 10 African Heads of State, Champions of Education, known as C10, to lend their high-level political support to both the decade of education and these continental financing instruments. Education is Africa's most strategic investment, the foundation of sovereignty, prosperity, and peace. If we educate our children well, our place in the world will no longer be negotiated but earned through the excellence of our human capital. ADEA, as a trusted continental institution, must and is indeed at the forefront of the implementation, driving peer learning, evidence-based policy, and accountability across member states. ADEA, congratulations for your work. Let this 2025 ADEA Triennale mark our turning point from vision to action, from dialogue to delivery, and from aspiration to African-led transformation. I thank you.
So send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha use LemFi say ye fear wo pese wo nto no use LemFi edan ya na say japade a wani da so a wo pese wo to Africa ha no use LemFi say wo send this sika ama odofo e de aboa no wo Africa ha use LemFi sanso e na say wo tie obi school fees ama no a use LemFi nyenti a me kanfo LemFi ama one say utimi send this sika e fa LemFi so a e ma ni begu bank account mu sanso e na timi begu mobile money account mu eno achi nso no de bia LemFi e wo daily rate a e ma hu sika dodo a wo send a wo benya LemFi e secured na wo send this car enche na nipa wo send ama no no ne nsaka LemFi wo USA, Canada, UK, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Portugal and France. What the LemFi send this car untu ahwe bomodi a dey use me code NEWS news na say any day they can register or LemFi so a unya bonus sanso and how use chance so a ye wo bonuses ahodo a ye de ma
Menu makwekwe sa sempa kania. Semenam na meti asempa na mo amane a na ma no keka me. Anyambia what ANS Trading Agency Limited nka. Sa wo ka say door to door for no de na watwa. Esan so bia ne wa wo say wo sa door to door business nim. Wo nneoma wo UK a wo de ko Ghana. Ana say Germany a wo de ko Ghana. 3 to 5 weeks e be kwa kodu nipa ne puno no say try. Na de mo demonstration ko say adwuma de we mu ne say wo ho bo no. E da form say boko. ANS Trading Agency Limited. E wo air freight special service. And nneoma ne ye de be fa play. Entintempa na akwa Obetima for Sapra, we also the new free Ghana, Aqua UK, and Germany. FAGG them, which are also a year, I mean drop a bomb. ANS Trading Agency Limited pair, and a 40-footer, any 20-footer container. FA UK, Edico Ghana, and Germany, Edico Ghana. Oma Manuel Mayame, importo, exporto, them there for you. Omo Ghana Namani, 0249 170 423. UK has over Freya 0790 802 7527. Germany 09173 771 2733. Ubenya ANS Trading Agency Limited. Our West Croydon ANS Trading Agency Limited. Quantum Brantam. Wana beboya baso. Maybe next time in your fill up from the bebro.